I was mentioning earlier that Vitaly Klitschko, many of our viewers will remember the Klitschko brothers, heavyweight boxing champions both, but also politicians. Vitaly, at least, mayor of Kiev right now, is also training to be a reservist should the firing begin in Ukraine. But he's been very critical in an article in a German newspaper of the behaviour of the Germans. This idea that there's a unified European response, it's for the birds.
Oh, completely, yes. I mean, I think particularly it's right to single out the Germans. It is the most powerful economy in Europe. It is the economy that has much to do with trade with Russia and economic sort of gain through Russian investment and trade. We've got the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and the Germans are sitting on their hands on this issue, saying they support sanctions, but not quite clear what sanctions those are, and generally foot-dragging compared to the attitudes of some of their neighbours to the east in particular, and of course us to the west, who are much more concerned about what's going on. And there was just this feeling, isn't there, Colin, that the Germans might be inclined to put economic benefit above European unity, to use that phrase, on a matter of European security.
Well, I'll tell you what, Alan, we're talking a lot today and have been in recent days about political corruption of one form or another, and whether hosting a party at Downing Street amounts to something nefarious. I'll tell you what's nefarious. The idea of a former ruler of a country the size of Germany, biggest country in Europe, like Gerhard Schroeder, former Chancellor of Germany, who is by many measures now effectively in the pocket of Moscow. Now, that's a scandal. That really is a scandal. Some of the lobbying he's been doing on behalf of Putin, widely out there in the public domain. Many of our viewers here in the UK won't be aware of it. But it puts a different gloss entirely once you realise just how serious politicians have cozied up to Moscow. It puts an entirely different gloss on that relationship between Germany and Russia.
Yes, completely. I think that the Kremlin's been very clever about reaching out to German politicians and indeed, of course, others across Europe who might further their agenda. In some cases, it's very classic in the sense of you will, basically be paid lots of money to work for Russian companies, and therefore, we know where your loyalties will lie financially. In other cases, it may be more subtle. But the reality is that a tremendous effort's been made, of course, to employ people who could be of use in political discussions when it comes to action against Russia. And there's no doubt that the Russians, and now, of course, increasingly other countries like China, have been using sort of the lure of personal gain in some cases to perhaps cloud judgments about what might be the best national response from certain countries.